do recognize that striking your mother repeatedly with the baton in the head and body did in fact cause her death.
Yes.
And you recognize that you did in fact cause her death with manifest extreme indifference to the value of her life.
Are you Heather Barbera, who's named in the indictment?
Yes.
Do you read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
How old are you, miss?
43.
How far did you get with your education?
Second year college.
Are you today under the influence of any drug, alcohol, or medication that would prevent you from understanding what's going on?
No.
In fact, understand what's happening here. You're entering guilty pleas to first-degree charges of murder and aggravated manslaughter.
Yes.
It's alleged that on July 7, 2018, that you were in Ventnor. Is that true?
Yes.
And did you there and then cause the death of Michelle Gordon recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life?
Do you agree with me that on July 7, 2018, you and Michelle Gordon, your mother, got into a verbal altercation? At some point, did that verbal altercation turn into a physical altercation? And you would agree that at some point during the physical altercation that your mother struck you in the head with a flashlight?
Yes.
You and she then engaged in punching, kicking, and wrestling with one another. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at this time, your mother did not have a flashlight, and she was in fact not armed with any weapon. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you would agree that at this point you were not in fear of your life.
Yes.
During this altercation, did you ultimately arm yourself with a police baton?
Yes.
And that police baton belonged to your deceased father. It was a service weapon from his time with the New York City Police Department. Would you agree with me that you struck your mother multiple times with that baton?
Yes.
And you did so in the head and body?
Yes.
Did you do so more than 5 times? Did you do so more than 10 times? You don't remember? Okay. That you do recognize that striking your mother repeatedly with the baton in the head and body did in fact cause her death.
Yes.
And you recognize that you did in fact cause her death with manifest extreme indifference to the value of her life.
Where was the weapon when you found it, the baton, Ms. Barbera?
In the house, Shelby.
So you sought it out, found it, and then decided to use it, is that correct? And do you agree and admit that because of your conduct, the death of Michelle Gordon resulted more of a probability as opposed to a possibility? What you did was very likely to result in her death, is that correct? Is the state satisfied with the inquiry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Barbera, directing your attention to the same date that we made reference to, July 7th, 2018, in the condominium at 4800 Boardwalk, your grandmother, Elaine Rosen, was also present. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you would agree that your grandmother attempted to intervene in the struggle between you and your mother, Michelle Gordon.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that your grandmother at the time was elderly and was in her late 80s. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at the time that your grandmother attempted to intervene, did she do so by trying to grab your arm to try to get you to stop assaulting your mother? Is that correct?
Yes.
Was your mother incapacitated at this point?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree that in response to your grandmother attempting to stop you from further assaulting your mother, that you in fact struck your grandmother with that baton? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that you did so repeatedly in her head and body. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you do agree that you did in fact cause the death of your grandmother by doing so? Yes?
Yes.
And you do agree that you did so knowingly and purposely, inflicting serious bodily injury to Elaine Rosen that did result in her death?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that you are extremely remorseful for what took place on that date. Is that correct?
Yes.